When you adapt a story, there's bound to be differences from the source material. Disney's adaptations of their animated films, which are themselves larger adaptations into live action, are no exception. For The Little Mermaid 2023, they added the world-building detail that Ariel has a special ability called the Siren song. Spoiler warning, I don't think they did a good job. In case you're not a mythology nerd like me, sirens are a creature from Greek myth, with enchanting voices that they use to lead sailors to their deaths. You might know them from Homer's poem The Odyssey, which has Odysseus tied to a ship's mast to protect him from the sirens' songs. While they were once believed to have the heads of women and the bodies of birds, they were eventually merged with mermaids. In fact, the word for mermaid in Spanish is sirena. So it does make sense that Disney would choose to give the mermaids of this film this ability. Was it the best choice? First of all, they decided to lead into the fan theory that the story is set somewhere in the Caribbean. Based on the tropical aesthetic and the accents of minor human characters, it seems clear that Prince Eric lives on some non-distinct Caribbean island that is somehow ruled by a resident black queen with a British accent. So if they were going to add something to mermaid lore, they could have added something that fits the setting. Maybe the Jamaican River Mama's golden table. The bigger issue to me though, is that there is no real justification for adding the Siren song. In the 2023 remake, they make a point to give Sebastian a line that mentions that Ariel saves Eric through the use of her Siren song.
As long as the king never finds out, everything will be alright. He never has to know she used that precious siren song of hers to save a human.
But we otherwise would not have known that. There's no magical twinkle, no nothing that even hints towards that. She just sings to him, and he wakes up, just like in the animated version. Later, when Ursula is convincing Ariel to give up her voice, she hints that the siren song can make someone fall in love with her, but we don't see it genuinely happen until later, when Ursula herself uses it. In essence, the siren song is an amorphous concept. We don't know how it works, how it manages to save Eric, anything really. For that matter, do all mermaids have it? Ursula doesn't seem to, and she is Triton's sister. To justify this addition, this is what I would do. It is Prince Eric's birthday. He is dancing and singing with his crewmen, much to Grimsby's dismay. Of course, Princess Ariel is in a lifeboat below, listening and becoming smitten with the human. "Do you hear that?" Eric says. "It sounds beautiful." Ariel gasps. The familiar voices of her sisters reach out to her from the sea. Their siren song is leading the ship towards the nearby storm. Breathing deeply, she looks up at Eric with wide eyes. She can't, she shouldn't, but she has to. Ariel joins the chorus, counteracting the spell. There is a tug of war between her and her sisters, but she is closer to the humans. Ultimately, she wins. "What was that?" Eric asks, shaking his head. What happened? He looks around at his crewmen and sees them all likewise looking like they are waking up from a dream, including one crewman who is staggering back from the helm, shocked and confused at what he had been doing. Eric's attention suddenly shifts to the rough waters and cloudy skies.
"Storm coming in fast."
"No," Grimsby answers. "We are headed straight for it." As the crew scrambles to regain control of the ship and lead it away from the storm, Ariel's heart breaks at the humans' cries of, "It was mermaids, I tell you."
"Storm coming in! All hands on deck! All hands on deck! Got Johnny Hunters and crashes!"
I think this one change to the scene would give us justification for the humans fearing merfolk so much, and show how much the merfolk hate humans. Not to mention provide a replacement for, or even a darker version of, Daughters of Triton from the animated film. Ariel would probably struggle with betraying her sisters and her people by saving the humans. And then, after she saves Eric later and sings to him, he has even more reason to try to find this mystery girl, because he may have recognized her voice as the one that countered the song that had tried to kill him, even if just on some subconscious level. What do you think though? Would this have been a good change? Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to appease the great Sea King and his YouTube algorithm. I worked hard on my little grotto here and I wouldn't want him to destroy it. I've been Ken Kwame and I'll see you next time.